Welcome to part 8 of the narcissism analysis on Zanab Jaffrey from Love is Blind. This is the reunion interview of the show's participants. The interviewers have just played the footage of Zanab's ex-partner Cole talking to another show participant, Colleen, at a pool party, shortly after he'd become engaged to Zanab. In it, Cole and Colleen admitted that they were physically attracted to each other. Colleen has just made a rather grovelling apology to Zanab. And now another participant in the show, Nancy, starts talking.
I think what happened is that Cole never accepted that awareness of what he did was wrong as an engaged person with someone else. You don't cross that boundary. You don't say that honesty. Yeah, we all had honesty in the pods, but that shit cuts off as soon as you walk into that reveal. Yeah. And so I think that was the issue with the men on our side, with a couple of them, is that they didn't stop having those inappropriate conversations.
As the interview progresses, we'll see that Zanab is surrounded by 4 members of her coterie: Alexa, Brennan, Nancy, and Raven. A narcissist's coterie, also known as flying monkeys, is a group of people who are on the side of the narcissist and support them. When a narcissist disengages from their partner, as Zanab did to Cole at the wedding, they will be smearing their partner, bad-mouthing them to the coterie. This allows the narcissist to get sympathy, which gives them control and fuel the emotional response that narcissists need, and it allows them to feel like they have control over their former partner. So the coterie is fed a stream of bad things about the narcissist's partner, and they believe it. Members of the coterie are often not bad people. They don't realize that they're being manipulated by a narcissist and genuinely think they're doing the right thing and are standing up for a victim. Throughout the interview, you'll see that Zanab has a number of key points she attacks Cole on, and it's interesting that every single time it's actually a coterie member that brings it up first, for Zanab. This is because she will have smeared Cole on these points to the coterie. In this situation, Nancy criticizing Cole for his actions at the pool party is completely fair. He was absolutely in the wrong there. But it's interesting that actually, Nancy initially attacks him for not accepting what he did was wrong. Why, and how would she know this? As you'll see, it's one of Zanab's smearing points.
You know, it was, like you said, a thread that it just kept coming up, and it did seem like something that me as a crazy woman could not let go of. But I think it just didn't get resolved because I didn't get an apology for a very long time.
Having seen the footage, Zanab can recognize that some of her behavior won't look good to viewers. A lower functioning narcissist often wouldn't be able to see this and might watch their own behavior with amusement, saying, "Well, that's just me. What you see is what you get." But Zanab can see that repeatedly bringing up past events and getting angry about them for weeks conflicts with the facade she has of being a good, forgiving person. Or as she puts it, it makes her seem like a crazy woman. When a mid-range narcissist such as Zanab is presented with strong evidence of their own poor behavior, their attitude is basically, "Yes, I understand that it might look like I'm behaving badly, but actually I have a good reason for doing that and I'm entirely justified." This is what Zanab's doing. She's blame-shifting and saying that she only acted in that way because Cole didn't apologize. It's a rejection of accountability. Plus, it has the added benefit of devaluing Cole by making him look bad.
I can't believe you say that I didn't apologize, because that night, we talked all night and all I did was apologize.
I didn't get an apology from you until dinner, weeks later.
So who's lying and who's telling the truth? Unfortunately, without any evidence, it's impossible to say for sure. As I explained in part 6, a narcissist's smear can consist of things which are true if the partner genuinely was in the wrong in a particular situation. It can consist of things which have a grain of truth to them, but the narcissist has left out vital context or has exaggerated it to make the partner look worse. And it can consist of things which are outright lies. Throughout this interview, you'll see Zanab repeatedly attacking Cole for things that weren't shown on the footage, so they can't be proved either way and become a he said, she said situation. In this particular case, we know that Zanab and Cole discussed everything for what seemed like a long time, straight after the pool party. We saw a few minutes of this conversation which didn't contain an apology from Cole, but of course he may have apologized at some other point during this conversation, as he claims. It also looks like they discussed it again on the plane on the way back from Malibu. And then 2 weeks later it came up again at a party where Zanab said that she never really got to hear what Colleen said back to Cole, which means that she already knew what Cole had said first. Then there was a big argument, followed by Cole profusely apologising to her what looks like the next night, which is presumably what Zanab is claiming was the first time Cole apologised. So unfortunately, in this situation we can't tell for sure who's telling the truth. I personally find it slightly difficult to believe that Cole wouldn't have apologised at all during their first long conversation, given his propensity to apologise first in conflicts, as we saw in parts 3 and 5.
That's like insane, because I talked to Matt like a couple days later about it.
Maybe we don't use the word insane to describe it.
Thank you, Brennan.
So just as Cole seems to be introducing some evidence to support himself, saying that he talked to Matt about it a couple of days after it occurred, the second member of Zanab's coterie, Brennan, steps in and shuts him down, picking him up on using the word insane to describe Zanab's accusation. Zanab thanks Brennan for coming to her aid. Interesting, given that Zanab herself used the term crazy woman in a derogatory sense a minute ago.
No, I'm saying how that's crazy to say that.
Crazy is insane.
It's the same thing.
It's a synonym.
Again, another coterie member jumps in to attack Cole for his choice of words. We're beginning to see how much of an uphill struggle it is to fight against a narcissist and their coterie. Cole is fighting a 1 versus 5 battle.
Let him.
Okay, let me find a different word. I think that you're lying to say that I didn't apologize for 2 weeks.
Brennan, you seem pretty impassioned about this whole scenario.
It's a bugaboo of mine, I guess. I don't know. I don't like other people disrespecting others, and it seemed like time and time again, Cole just continually disrespected his fiance.
And way beyond what, like, that situation I feel like is so small compared to a lot of the other things he did that are not shown in it. Like, watching it is infuriating, like knowing what he did to her.
So now we have Zanab's third coterie member, Alexa, also jumping in to attack Cole. She's talking about things Cole did to Zanab that weren't shown in the footage. Supposedly a lot of other things so bad they make the situation they were just discussing look small. The reason Alexa knows about these things is that Zanab has been smearing Cole to her.
Imagine whenever I got down on a knee and proposed to her, that to me, that's promising your life to that other person. So basically what that tells me is not only is he being disrespectful to Zanab, but now your word isn't worth anything at this point.
I think he's deceitful.
They go on to talk about Colleen and Matt for a while, before Cole starts talking.
Totally my fault. I should have never let it get there. I was caught up in the moment. So.
Yeah.
Slightly later on, they play a montage of some clips where Zanab is criticizing Cole.
Is this dirty? Mm-hmm. Do you know where you can put it? Like a laundry basket.
Really?
Babe, pick up your things.
Chill.
If you want to, like, maybe pick up your towel sometime and maybe not, like, throw it across the coffee table.
Are you being passive aggressive?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just checking.
Can I have a STEMmed class?
Yeah.
Please. Thank you. So, fun fact, you put white wine in a stemmed glass because a hand around this warms it up. You started the chicken early. Aren't the potato fries gonna take ages?
Yeah, we'll eat them after everything. That's how I always do it.
What are you doing to this chicken?
How do you flip 3 at the same time?
Oh, I did it! So very white, not seasoned piece of chicken. But please season it.
All right. Let me help you out there.
We don't need any more on this side. What is wrong with you?
Well, not the white seasoned chicken. We went there. We went with the white piece of chicken. We can giggle now.
It wasn't that bad, I'll be honest. We had a lot of play, and I look really goofy and she looks really naggy, but it was much more in the middle than I experienced, to be honest. Like, so
Thank you.
Yeah. Like the clothes stuff was funny to me because I'm super messy. I mean, that's obvious. So, I mean, I'm very messy.
So despite what Zanab did to him at the wedding, and the fact that she's already come out swinging for him in this interview, Cole holds out an olive branch. This demonstrates to Zanab's narcissism that he's under control in this moment, so she treats him benignly, smiling at him and thanking him. Cole's conciliatory approach might work with a non-narcissist. Empathetic people generally want to resolve things peacefully whenever they can. However, as I've said before, unaware narcissists compartmentalize. They operate in the moment. So later on, when the opportunity arises for Zanab to throw Cole under the bus in order to benefit her, she'll take it. Cole's nice gesture here will be ancient history, no longer factored into her decision-making. Remember that a narcissist has no sense of accountability or obligation, and they have no emotional empathy or sense of decency. They have a sense of entitlement and a victim mentality, which means that a narcissist's attitude here would probably be, well, it's only fair he's setting the record straight after what he did to me. When you think of the narcissistic perspective, you can see why a cooperative approach would fail in a situation like this. The interview moves on to talking about how messy Cole's house was. Slightly later, Cole actually gives us the context for one of the clips we just saw in the compilation. Unless I missed it before, which is entirely possible, this is new footage we haven't seen, where Zanab is telling Cole to put his dirty clothes in the laundry basket.
I mean, deservingly no, the suitcase part, we were moving into our apartment. I opened my suitcase and you were like, really, Cole? And I was like, I'm unpacking. That was the only one that I was like, that was wild. And I'm not organized. I got a lot to work on, so.
So assuming the context Cole gave us for this clip is correct, and from the video it certainly looks like it is, Cole has sat down on the floor, cross-legged in front of his suitcase, in the process of unpacking it as they're moving into their apartment, and Zanab comes in.
Is this dirty? Do you know where you can put it? Like a laundry basket.
Really?
Cole seems to be unpacking his suitcase in a pretty standard way, taking all his things out and putting them in matching piles. Clothes that need to be hung up like shirts and blazers on the bed, dirty clothes in a pile, shoes in a different place. Then presumably he'll put these piles away one at a time. For Zanab to come in and start telling him off for not putting the dirty clothes in a washing basket while he's still in the process of unpacking shows her lack of boundaries and her lack of empathy. She's talking down to him as if he's a naughty child, belittling him to assert control over him and gain fuel from his hurt reaction. She's haughty and patronizing. However, the biggest red flag is the tone she uses. You can hear the contempt she has for him in her voice. She's talking to him as if he's beneath her. If somebody talked to their dog like that on the street, I think people would probably stare. The tone arises because of a narcissist's black and white thinking. As a narcissist's partner, you're either being idealized and everything about you is wonderful, or you're being devalued and everything about you is atrocious. In this moment, Zanab hates everything about Cole, absolutely, which is why she's talking to him with such venom in her voice. Non-narcissists can get angry and exasperated, and they can shout and swear, but you won't hear that tone.
Then you're giggling, so I'm glad that you have a sense of humor about it.
I have to be able to laugh at that, because that's just awful.
Is there any self-reflection on seeing some things that you said throughout the entire season of how you guys interacted?
Absolutely. I definitely could have shown more grace.
When a narcissist is taking some heat for their behavior, sometimes the best way to nullify this threat to their control is to show false contrition. In this situation, it allows Zanab to get the interviewer off her back and make it seem like she's a good person who's taking accountability for her actions. Some narcissists can make false contrition look very convincing, but with Zanab, it's obvious that it's false and that she doesn't actually believe what she did was wrong. Somebody who genuinely thought their behavior had been just awful would be embarrassed, upset, apologizing for the pain they caused, and taking steps to make sure it didn't happen again. On the other hand, Zanab is flippant. She was laughing while watching the clips, and has an attitude of, well, I've got to laugh about it, haven't I? People laugh at themselves for things like falling over in a silly way, not for abusing their partner. Lack of empathy and lack of accountability. When Zanab's pressed on whether she's had any self-reflection, she says she definitely could have shown more grace. It's such a vague, grandiose, throwaway line that shows that she hasn't grasped the magnitude of her actions at all, or taken any steps to rectify her behavior. Lack of empathy, lack of accountability, and blindness to reality. Notice that she doesn't apologize to Cole for her actions. This not only shows a sense of entitlement, a lack of accountability, and a lack of empathy, it also shows hypocrisy. She was attacking Cole for not apologising quickly enough to her, but she doesn't feel the need to apologise at all for her actions. She complained about how Cole had single-handedly shattered her self-confidence, but can't see that her actions might have affected his self-confidence and might therefore merit an apology.
We were in a super weird time warp and moving and, you know, opening his suitcase and the first sock that goes on the floor. I definitely didn't have to like jump on him about that. Yeah, I just never shared my space. I've never been serious enough with anyone to have them over for more like pack an overnight bag and then like get out, you know?
Yeah.
Because I like my things in their place. So it was an adjustment.
This is another sign it's false contrition. Zanab's trying to justify her behaviour. Further lack of accountability. The fact that she thinks not having lived with somebody before could justify talking to another person in the way she did shows her complete lack of empathy. Luckily for Zanab, the coterie is about to ride in and save her by attacking Cole again, as we'll see in part 9. Thank you for listening, and please subscribe to my channel for future parts.